Hello everyone, welcome back to my third lecture on chapter number 2, that is subject chemistry, chapter number 2, solutions. In this point, that is the point number 2.9, that is diffraction in freezing point. That is the third colligative property in this chapter. Simple, we have to recall that freezing point of a liquid is the temperature at which liquid and solid are in equilibrium and the two phases have the same vapor pressure, that is known as freezing point. General experimental observation is that the freezing point of a solvent is lower by dissolving a non-volatile solid into it. Thus, freezing point of a solution containing a non-volatile solid is lower than that of pure solvent. Okay. Hence, if T0F is the freezing point of pure solvent and Tf is the freezing point of solution that contain non-volatile solute that is dissolved in it, then T0F is greater than Tf, that is freezing point of pure solvent is greater than freezing point of solution. Okay. Therefore, the difference between freezing point of pure solvent and that of the solution is diffraction in freezing point. Simple, in short, that is the difference between freezing point of pure solvent and solution is known as freezing point. Okay. Then what is the equation is? Simply you have to, that is the difference between delta Tf is equal to T0F minus Tf, that is freezing point of pure solvent minus freezing point of solution. That's equation number 16. Okay, you have to remember this equation. Next one, next point continues. Next slide, freezing point. That is point number 2.9.1. Freezing point diffraction as a consequences of vapor pressure lowering. That's the effect of dissolution of non-volatile solute into a solvent on freezing point of solvent can be understood in the terms of vapor pressure lowering. Simple things, the effect of dissolution of a non-volatile solid into a solvent on freezing point of solvent can be understood in terms of vapor pressure lowering. In terms of vapor pressure lowering. Then, if we consider the vapor pressure temperature diagram as shown in figure, that is this diagram you have to simply observe. In this diagram, that is the diagram consists of three curves, that is curve number 1, that is A to B. AB is the vapor pressure curve of solid solvent. A to B is the vapor pressure curve of solid solvent. C to D. C to D is the vapor pressure curve of pure liquid solvent, that is C to D, that is the vapor pressure curve of liquid solvent, and EF, and EF is the vapor pressure curve of solution that always lies below the pure solvent, that is always lies below the pure solvent. It is important to note that solute does not dissolve in solid solvent. Solute does not dissolve in solid solvent. Continue, you have to discuss. The curve AB and CD intersect at a point B where solid and liquid phases are pure solvent are in equilibrium. In back diagram, you have to simply observe that is the curve AB and CD both are intersect at the point B, where this point solid and liquid phases of pure solvent are in equilibrium. Hence, the two phases have same vapor pressure at the B point. Then the temperature corresponding to B is the freezing point of solvent. Then this point B is the freezing point of solvent, that is delta 0 F, pure solvent. Similarly, at E point, the intersection of EF and AB, the solid solvent and solution are equilibrium. Here solid solvent and solution are equilibrium. Then they have the same vapor pressure at E, at the point E. Then the temperature corresponding to E is the freezing point of solution. This E is the freezing point of solution, that is represented by TF. Okay. Hence, it is clear from the figure that freezing point of solution TF is lower than that of pure solvent T0F. Means it is obviously because that the vapor pressure curve of the solution is always lies below the solvent, that of solvent. Okay. Next, continue discussing is here why freezing point of solvent is lower by dissolving a non-volatile solute into it. This simple question is there. At the freezing point of a pure liquid, the attractive forces among the molecules are large enough to causes the change of phase from liquid to solid. At the freezing point of pure liquid, the attractive forces among the molecules are large enough to cause the change of phase from liquid to solid. Then, in a solution, the solvent molecules are separated from each other because of solute molecule. In solution, the solvent molecules are separated from each other because of solute molecule. Thus, the separation of solvent molecule in solution is more than that in pure solvent. The separation of solvent molecules in solution is more than that in pure solvent. This result in decreasing the attractive forces between solvent molecules. Why it is decreased? Because the decreasing the attractive forces between solvent molecule. Consequently, the temperature of the solution is lower below the freezing point of solvent. Consequently, the temperature of the solution is lower below the freezing point of solvent to cause the phase change. Okay. Next point, that is 2.9.2, freezing point depression and concentration of solute. Verified experimentally for a dilute solution, the freezing point depression delta TF is directly proportional to molality of solution. Simple, that's are similar to delta TB. Delta TB also directly proportional to the molality. The same equation you have to only change this delta TB is, instead of TB you have to write down delta TF is directly proportional to M, and delta TF is equal to, when this proportionality you have to remove, then you have to require by any constant then that is Kf is the constant. Means delta Tf is equal to Kf into m. Also you know that when the proportionality constant Kf is called freezing point depreciation constant, or that is the cryoscopic constant. If we consider when m is equal to 1, then delta Tf is equal to Kf. Delta Tf is equal to Kf. Okay. The cryoscopic constant, hence the cryoscopic constant Kf thus is the depression in freezing point produced by 1 molar solution of a non-volatile solid. 1 molar solution of a non-volatile solid. Okay. Next, what is the unit of Kf? Kf is equal to, simply you have to write down delta Tf. When you have to calculate Kf, then what is the equation become? That is delta Tf upon m is equal to K, or degree Celsius, upon mole kg inverse. Okay. This simple unit. Then you have to write down K into kg per mole inverse, or C degree Celsius into kg mole inverse. That is the unit of Kf. Okay. Next point. Point number 2.9.3, that is molar mass of solute from freezing point diffraction. Molar mass of solute from freezing point diffraction. Okay. The equation number 2.17, that is delta Tf is equal to Kf. We know that is the last slide's equation. Delta Tf is equal to, you have Kf into m. Here we memorize what is the molality m of the solution is given by the equation number 14, as m is equal to, we know that is 1000 into W2 upon m2 into W1. These m values you have to simply put in the above equations. Delta Tf is equal to Km, Kf into m. Then the delta Tf is equal to Kf into 1000 into W2 upon m2 into W1. Hence you have to simply calculate by m2. m2 is equal to क्या आएगा फिर, that is 1000 into Kf into W2 upon delta Tf into W1. That is equation number 18. That is, with the help of these equations, you have to simply calculate by m2, that is molar mass of solid. Okay, according to freezing points, diffraction in freezing points. Okay. Next slide. Next point, that is point number 2.10, osmotic pressure, that is colligative properties number 4. In this point you have to simply discuss what is the osmotic pressure. That is, beside the boiling point elevation and freezing point diffraction, the osmotic pressure is associated with vapor pressure lowering and can be used to determine molar mass of dissolved solid. Okay. Then one concept is given here, that is semi-permeable membrane. What is semi-permeable membrane? The semi-permeable membranes, that is the osmotic pressure phenomenon, involves the use of semi-permeable membrane. It is a film such as cellophane which has pores large enough to allow the solvent molecule to pass through them. These pores are small enough to allow the passage of large solute molecule or ions of high molecular mass through them. The semi-permeable membrane selectively allows passage of solvent molecule, only a solvent molecule. Semi-permeable membrane selectively allows passage of solvent molecules, not a solid molecules. Remember here. Okay. Next one. Next point, that is 2.10.1, osmosis. When a solution and pure solvent. When a solution and pure solvent or two solutions of different concentration are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, then the solvent molecule pass through the membrane. The spontaneous and unidirectional flow of solvent molecule through a semi-permeable membrane takes place into the solution, or flow of solvent from a solution of lower concentration to the solution of higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. Simple, remember here, when a solution and pure solvent or two solutions of different concentration are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, the solvent molecule pass through the semi-permeable membrane or membrane, that is the spontaneous and unidirectional flow of solvent molecule through a semi-permeable membrane into the solution, or flow of solvent from a solution of lower concentration to the higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is known as or is called as osmosis. Next point, that is what is the direction of flow of solvent molecules. It is important to understand that the passage of solvent molecule through the semi-permeable membrane takes place in both directions, since solvent is on both sides of the membrane. Simply remember here, it is important to understand that the passage of solvent molecule through the semi-permeable membrane takes place in both directions, since solvent is on the both sides of the membrane. However, the rate of passage of solvent molecule into the solution or from more dilute solution to more concentration solution is found to be greater than that the rate in the reverse direction. This is favorable since the vapor pressure of solvent is greater than that of solution. The net spontaneous flow of solvent molecule into the solution or from more dilute solution to more concentration solution, more concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane is called as osmosis. This figure 2.8 you have to simply observe in next slide. As a result, the osmosis, the amount of liquid on the pure solvent side or more dilute solutions sides decreases. Consequently, the amount of liquid on the other side increases. Hence, this result in decreases the concentration of solution. Due to this result decrease the concentration of solution. What is the diagram we have to simply here? That is the osmosis. In this diagram we have to simply show that is semi-permeable membrane. This flow of solvent from this solvent to solution. Here the solution of lower concentration, that is solution of lower concentration to the higher concentration, that is the flow of solvent. This solution of higher concentration, semi-permeable membrane is present in middle part. Okay, this diagram you have to simply observe, and there's the above explanation you have to simply read again and again, then simple things you have to understand. Okay, next point, that is point number 2.10.2, osmotic pressure. The excess of pressure on the side of solution that stop the net flow of solvent into solution through semi-permeable membrane is called osmotic pressure. simple definition you have to remember. The excess of pressure on the side of the solution that stop the net flow of solvent into solution. Net flow of solvent into solution are stopped through the semi-permeable membrane is called osmotic pressure. The equilibrium is reached when the hydrostatic pressure of the column matches the osmotic pressure. The osmosis can be demonstrated with experimental setup as shown in figure. That figure you have to simply show. The semi-permeable membrane is firmly fastened across the mouth of thistle tube. The solution of intersect is placed inside an inverted thistle tubes. This part of the tube and membrane are then immersed in a container of pure solvent. This diagram you have to simply observe. Here that is the solvent, these solutions, here this semi-permeable membrane is here, but the height is there, this capillary height will be increases due to this osmotic pressure. Okay. Next point, osmotic pressure continues. As a result, some of the solvent pass through the membrane into the solution. It causes the liquid level in the tube is rise. As a result, some of the solvent passes through the membrane into the solution. Due to this reason, it causes a liquid level. Liquid का level क्या हो रहा है? Increases in tube, rises in tube. Then the liquid column in the tube create hydrostatic pressure that pushes the solvent back through the membrane into a container. Then the column of liquid in the tube continues to rise and eventually stop rising. At this stage, hydrostatic pressure developed is sufficient to force solvent molecule back through the membrane into container. At the same rate they are entered to the solution. An equilibrium thus established where rate of forward and reverse passes are equal, then the height of liquid column in the tube remain constant. Hence, this implies that the hydrostatic pressure has stopped osmosis. The hydrostatic pressure that stops osmosis is a osmotic pressure of the solution. The hydrostatic pressure is equal to Heg, where H is the height of liquid column in the tube, rho is the density of solution, and G is the acceleration due to gravity, that is H rho G. So last time I will says Heg, that is not Heg, that is H rho G. Rho is the density, H is the height, and G is the gravity. Okay. Next point. That is 2.10.3, isotonic and hypotonic or hypotonic solutions. Isotonic solution, that is simple things, two or more solutions having same osmotic pressure are said to be a isotonic solution. For example, 0.1 molar urea solutions and 0.1 molar sucrose solutions. both are isotonic to each other. Their osmotic pressure are equal. Such solutions have the same molar concentration but different concentration. Same molar concentration but different concentration in gram per liter. If these solutions are separated by semi-permeable membrane, there is no flow of solvent in their either directions. Okay, hypertonic and hypotonic solutions. That is, if two solutions have unequal osmotic pressure, दोनों solution का unequal osmotic pressure, then the more concentrated solution with higher osmotic pressure is said to be hypotonic solution, and the more dilute solution exhibit lower osmotic pressure is said to be hypotonic solution. For example, if osmotic pressure of sucrose solution is higher than that of urea solution, then the sucrose solution is hypertonic solution to urea solutions, and the urea solution is hypotonic solution to sucrose solution, inverse to each other. Okay, vice versa to each other. Next point. That is 2.10.4 osmotic pressure and concentration of solution. For very dilute solutions, the osmotic pressure follows the equation, that is pi is equal to N2 RT upon V, where V is the volume of solution in dm cube containing N2 molecules of non-volatile solid, and R is the gas constant equal to 0.08206 dm cube atmospheric pressure, K inverse moles inverse, and pi is the osmotic pressure in atmosphere, 1 atmosphere. The terms N2 by V, N2 upon V is the concentration in molarity, capital M. Then the above equation can be written as pi is equal to MRT, capital MRT, capital MRT. Now note that the solute concentration is expressed in molarity while calculating osmotic pressure rather than molality. Note that here you have to simply note that the solute concentration is expressed in molarity while calculating osmotic pressure rather than molality. The reason is that the osmotic pressure measurement are made at a specific constant temperature. Osmotic pressure के लिए आपको specific temperature constant लगता है. Okay, due to this reason you have to simply the solute concentration is expressed in molarity, not in molality. Okay, now it is not necessary to express the concentration in temperature independent unit like molality. ओके यहाँ पे हम लोग को मोलरिटी की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं लगती, ओनली मोलरिटी यू हैव टू यूज टू चेक द कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ और एक्सप्रेस द कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ मोलरिटी, दैट इज सोल्यूट का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन हम लोग मोलरिटी से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू मोलरिटी. ओके, नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. Point number 2.10.45, that is molar mass of solute from osmotic pressure. Simply you have to consider that is equation number 19, that is pi is equal to N2 into RT upon V. If the mass of solute in V liters of solution is W2 and its molar mass is M2, then simply you know that is N2 is equal to W2 upon M2. Now this value of N2 is added to the equation number 19. It gives the equation pi is equal to W2 into RT upon M2 into V, or when you have to calculate M2 molar mass, then W2 into RT upon pi into V. Okay, ये आगे आ जाएगा m2 आगे आ जाएगा, pi this goes to their side, then simple equation you have to obtain, that is W2 into RT upon pi into V. We remember that osmotic pressure is much larger and therefore more precisely measurable properties than other colligative properties. Simply you have to memorize that osmotic pressure is much larger and therefore more precisely measurable properties than other colligative property. Other colligative properties say osmotic pressure you have to simply more precisely measure. Okay, this point you have to rememberize. It is therefore useful to determine molar mass of very expensive substances that can be prepared in a small quantity. It is therefore useful to determine molar masses of very expensive substances that can be prepared in a small quantity. Okay, next point. Next point, that is point number 2.10.6, reverse osmosis. As I mentioned earlier, osmosis is a flow of solvent through semi-permeable membrane into the solution. Then the direction of osmosis can be reversed by applying a pressure larger than osmotic pressure. Then the pure solvent then flows from solution into pure solvent, solution into pure solvent through semi-permeable membrane. This phenomenon is known as reverse osmosis. क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे, प्योर सॉल्वेंट इज देन फ्लोज फ्रॉम सॉल्यूशन टू प्योर सॉल्वेंट, solution to pure solvent through semi-permeable membrane. This phenomenon is known as reverse osmosis. The figure number 2.10 shows the schematic setup for reverse osmosis. Fresh water and salty water are simply separated by semi-permeable membrane. When the pressure larger than the osmotic pressure, when the pressure larger than the osmotic pressure of solution is applied to solution, then the pure water from salty water, passes into fresh pure water through semi-permeable membrane. Okay, next point. This diagram you have to simply observe, that is fresh water and that is salty water. This pressure is greater than pi, then that is piston, you have to see pressure you will apply. Then that time semi-permeable membrane, what happen here, this fresh water is from salty water. Salty water से fresh water आ रहा है. These are simple reverse osmosis process. Okay, next point. This point number 2.11, that is colligative property of electrolytes. Solution of non-electrolyte in water exhibit colligative properties that described in the preceding section. This solution also give for a dissolved substances the molar masses expected from their chemical formula. Solution of non-electrolyte in water exhibit colligative properties as described in the preceding section. This solution also give for the dissolved substances the molar masses expected from their chemical formula. The study of properties, the study of colligative properties of electrolytes, however, require a different approach than used for colligative properties of non-electrolyte. Following are the experimental observation for the colligative behavior of electrolytes. Thus, The solution of electrolyte also exhibit colligative properties. The solution of electrolytes also exhibit colligative properties which do not obey the relations of non-electrolytes. Which do not obey. Remember here, which do not obey the relation of electrolytes. The colligative property of the solutions of electrolytes are greater than those to be expected for solutions of non-electrolyte of the same concentration. Colligative properties of solutions of electrolyte are greater than those to be expected for solutions of non-electrolyte to the same concentration. Simple things you have to memorize, that is colligative property of electrolyte solutions are greater than that of non-electrolyte solutions. Okay. The molar mass of electrolytes in aqueous solutions determined by colligative properties are found to be considerably lower than that of formula mass. Molar mass of electrolyte in aqueous solution determined by colligative properties are found to be considerably as comparatively lower than that of formula mass. Okay. Next, why the colligative properties of electrolyte solutions are greater than those of non-electrolyte solutions of the same concentration? That simple question you have to ask. Then what is the reason behind them is the recall that the electrolyte dissociate into two or more ions. Electrolyte क्या करते हैं हम लोग को पता है, that is electrolytes are dissociate into two or more ions when dissociate dissolve in water, whereas non-electrolyte do not dissociate. Stated that differently, one formula unit of electrolyte dissolved in water produces two or more ions. Consequently, the number of particles in the solution also increases. The colligative properties of electrolyte solutions are thus higher. The colligative properties of electrolyte solutions are thus higher than the non-electrolyte solutions. For example, when NaCl is dissolved in water, it produces two ions, that is Na++ and Cl-, whereas the sucrose does not dissociate into water. It is expected then that the colligative property of 0.1 molar NaCl is twice of 0.1 मोलर सोल्यूशन ऑफ सुक्रस. सुक्रस का एज इट इज रहेगा 1 रहेगा तो 1 रहेगा, और दिस NaCl का 1 + 1 2 ट्वाइस हो जाएगा. ओके, दैट इज द डिफरेंस, और दैट्स व्हाई दिस colligative property of electrolytes is higher than that of non-electrolyte solutions. Okay, next point. Next point, that is want of factor. That is also important point. To obtain the colligative properties of electrolyte solutions by using relations for non-electrolyte, want of factor suggests a factor is I. It is defined as the ratio of colligative property of electrolyte divided by the colligative property of non-electrolyte solutions of the same concentration. Thus, if this equation is simple, right, you have to write down, that is I is equal to want of factor I is equal to colligative properties of electrolyte solution divided by colligative properties of non-electrolyte solutions of the same concentration. Then simply you have to write down, that is delta TF upon delta TF0, that is electrolyte, is colligative property of electrolyte divided by this colligative property of non-electrolyte is equal to also at the boiling point delta TB upon delta TB0, that is no electrolyte and that is non-electrolyte and that is below part non-electrolytes. This vapor pressure also delta P is the electrolyte and delta P0 is non-electrolyte. Here pi is the vapor colligative property of electrolyte and pi 0 is the colligative properties of non-electrolyte solutions at the same concentration. That's equation number 22. You have to simply rememberize. Okay. Next point. Continues the water factor, where quantities without subscript refer to electrolyte and those with subscript to non-electrolyte. Where quantities without subscript refer to electrolyte and those with the subscript to non-electrolyte. Want-out factor I is also defined as in alternative but exactly equivalent mass, as I is equal to actual moles of particles in solution of after dissociation. Actual moles of I is equal to actual moles of particles in solution after dissociation divided by number of moles of formula. Moles of formula units dissolve in solution. That is equation number 23. Then it gives the formula mass of substances divided by observed molar mass of substances is equal to, you have to simply write down that is the M theoretical upon M observed. That is equation number 24. Thus I is equal to 1 for non-electrolyte, 2 for KNO3 and NaCl, and 3 for N2SO4 and CaCl2, and so forth. The colligative property of these electrolytes are therefore twice, thrice respectively, and those of non-electrolyte of the same concentration. Okay. Next point. Quantum factor, simply you have to continue discussing. The Horesian argument are valued only for infinitely dilute solutions where the dissociation of electrolyte is complete. In reality, especially at high concentration, the colligative properties of strong electrolyte and their I values are usually smaller than expected value. Thus, the reason is that electrostatic force between oppositely charged ions bring about the formation of ion pairs. Each ion pairs consist of one or more cation and one or more anions held together by electrostatic attractive forces. Then this result in decreases in the number of particles in solution, causing reduction in the expected I value and colligative properties. Next point. That is 2.11.2, modification of expression of colligative properties. The expression of colligative properties mentioned earlier for non-electrolyte are to be modified so as to make them applicable for electrolyte solutions. The modified equations are simply write as delta P. First is vapor pressure, that is delta P is equal to I into P01 into X2 is equal to I into W2 upon M1 upon M2 into W1. Second, that is delta TB, that is the boiling point elevation, that is equal to I into KB into M. We know that the simple formula I into 1000 into kb into w upon w2 upon m2 into w1. Equation number 3, that is for freezing point, that delta Tf is equal to I into kf into m is equal to I into 1000 into kf into w2 upon m2 into w1. In this equation number 4, that is pi is equal to I m capital M R T is equal to I into W2 RT upon M2 V. These four equations you have to simply memorize. First for vapor pressure, then elevation boiling point, then delta TF, that is equal to freezing point, and last is osmotic pressure. Okay, next. That is point number 2.11.3, want-of factor and degree of dissociation. Want-of factor and degree of dissociation, that point also important to your exam. Discussion of colligative property. Discuss of colligative properties of electrolyte in the preceding section is based on the fact that the electrolyte are completely dissociated in their aqueous solution. This is approximately true for the solution of strong electrolyte and not for weak electrolytes that dissociate in a small extent. The weak electrolytes involve the concept of degree of dissociation, that is alpha, the changes in the want-of factor, that changes the want-of factor. The relation between the want-of factor and degree of dissociation is equal to simple. You have to simply consider electrolyte equation, that is AXBY, that dissociate into the aqueous solution. As the simple equation write down, that is equal to capital AX and by, it gives xy xay plus ybz minus. That is equation number 25. You have to memorize. Then initially simply you have to, we know that is the initially, that is first is 1 mole, it gives 0 mole and 0 mole. Then at equilibrium conditions, that is when this reaction is proceed, at that time what quantity of compound is reduced, that is 1 minus alpha, and here 1 minus this alpha x alpha mole, and here y alpha mole, here y alpha moles are remain. Then continues to discuss relation between want-of factor and degree of dissociation. If alpha is the degree of dissociation of electrolyte, then the moles of cations, that is alpha x, and those of anions is alpha y at equilibrium. We have dissolved just 1 mole of electrolyte initially, then alpha mole of electrolyte dissociate in and 1 minus alpha mole of remain undissociated at equilibrium conditions. The total moles after dissociation is given as 1 minus alpha plus alpha x alpha plus y alpha. Simply this proceed 1 plus alpha in bracket x plus y minus 1. Then you have to simply write down, that is the 1 plus alpha into n minus 1. 1 plus alpha into x plus y is equal to n. Here n is equal to x plus y. Moles of ions obtained from the dissociation of 1 moles of electrolyte. That is, the want-of factor is given by the equation number 23 is, you know that the actual moles of particles is in solute after dissociation divided by moles of formula unit dissolved in a solution. Then what the simple equation became, that is 1 plus alpha in bracket n minus 1 upon 1. That is I is equal to, simply you have to enter conversion 1 plus alpha into in bracket 1 minus alpha, or simply you have to calculate the alpha, then that is equal to I minus 1 upon n minus 1. That is the equation number 27. Okay, these relations are important. Next, here the chapter number 2 is simply I will complete it. Next lecture I will explain what the numerical parts. Now I will stop here. The chapters are ended and this lecture I will stop. Thank you.